This is a very sensitive topic for some people, and I get it. If you're one of those people who thinks that it is just wrong to charge veterans fees for disability claims, I'm not here to change your mind. My goal with this video is to give people things to think about if they're trying to figure out who should represent them in their VA disability claim. The first thing that I'll say is that you don't have to pay anyone for help with your claim. There are veteran service organizations like the DAV, the VFW, the Legion, and many others. They have veteran service officers who will help you for free. Same goes with states and counties. Not every county, but a lot of counties. I meet and talk with these veteran service officers all the time. Maybe not literally all the time, but I meet and talk with them from time to time. And they're knowledgeable, they're trained, they care about veterans, and most of them try to do a good job. I often tell people to try them first. You may find a representative that you like, that you can work well with, and that's probably the best thing for your claim anyway. And you don't even need to have a VSO at all. You can do it entirely on your own if you want. You can create an account on va.gov. You can log in, follow the links for how to file a claim, and again, do it all yourself. And for some fairly simple and straightforward claims, that's probably the way to go. The reason I don't feel like I'm in competition with the VSOs is because the vast majority of people that come to me for help are not satisfied with the free help they've received for one reason or another. Sometimes VSOs get overwhelmed with their caseload. They don't have the same ability to turn people away that independent representatives like me do. It's easier for me to manage my caseload, so to speak. If I'm too busy, I can just stop taking on new work. It's more difficult for them to do that. Now, when your representative is too busy, it takes them more time to get around to working on your claim. And when they do work on your claim, they have less of an ability to get into the details as far as they might need to. And to be perfectly fair, that is not just a problem for VSOs. Attorneys have that problem. I have that problem from time to time. There's a lot of times I think I'm managing my case as well, and then go through a week where I get 6 decisions back from the VA, and it takes a big old dump on what was a manageable caseload. And not for nothing, but just because you aren't paying them a fee doesn't mean they're working for free. Somebody's paying them a salary for them to go into the office every day of the week and work on disability claims. And if you're not the one paying them, then it's worth thinking about where their incentives are. Because some VSOs, not all of them, don't get mad at me, some VSOs don't have an incentive to work very hard because the success or failure of your claim has nothing to do with how much they get paid at the end of the day or how much work they have to do. So if you do turn to someone like me for help with your disability claim, you should know some of the rules that we have to follow. The first, and maybe the most important, is that it is against the law for anyone to charge a veteran to file an initial claim for disability compensation. And when I say initial claim, I don't just mean the very first claim you ever filed with the VA. It is a disability by disability thing. You can file a claim today for your knees, and you can even fight that claim for a decade and finally convince the VA that your knees are service connected. Then the next day, if you file a claim for your shoulder, that shoulder claim is an initial claim. Again, it's a disability by disability thing, and it's against the law for anyone to charge a veteran to file an initial claim. This is especially relevant with the PACT Act. Don't get sucked into paying somebody to help you file an initial PACT Act claim. So outside of the initial claim, if the representative is charging you fees, you should know some of the rules the rep has to follow. For one, the fee has to be reasonable. It has to be in writing, which means a signed agreement between you and the representative, and that agreement has to be filed with the VA. Now, the fee can be based on a lot of different things. It can be a flat rate, it can be an hourly rate, or it can be a percentage of the past due benefits that you receive, that lump sum, if you win. And to get back to the reasonable part, no matter how you structure the fee, it has to be reasonable. The VA has rules for what's reasonable and what's not. The VA presumes that if the fee is 20% or less of any past due benefits recovered, then it's reasonable. If the fee is 33.33% or more than that chunk of past due benefits, then the VA presumes it's unreasonable. And any fee that falls in between there doesn't have a presumption. And then the VA has a bunch of different factors that they consider when they're looking at whether that fee in the middle is reasonable or whether the facts of a specific case make it so that the presumption should be rebutted either on the low end or the high end. Most people who do this just charge a contingency fee that is a percentage of the past due benefits because it's straightforward and simple and everybody understands it. And by contingency fee, I mean the rep only gets paid if you win. And by the percentage, it's some amount of the big chunk of past due benefits. An example might help explain why this is more simple and straightforward. Let's say, I charge a veteran a flat rate, X dollars to work on a claim. And let's say we work on that claim for years and we just never win. And it gets to the point where we have to stop because we're just not ever going to win. Well, I've received some amount of money as a fee, but the veteran has never received any past due benefits. The VA's test for whether something is reasonable is how the fee relates to the past due benefits. So in that circumstance, any fee that I received is going to hit the threshold for being presumed unreasonable. And so to avoid all that, most people would just say, I don't get paid unless you win, and it's a percentage. So you might be wondering, when is the VA ever going to take a look at a fee charged to a veteran and try to figure out if that is reasonable or not? And the answer is it happens when a veteran complains. So if your representative is accredited by the VA, you can complain straight to the VA's Office of General Counsel. I'll put a link below. And they will, they'll look at whatever you send them, but they'll also take a look at the past due benefits that you received because they can look it up. And they'll also look at the fee agreement, which again had to be filed with the VA. And they'll do their initial review of your situation. And there's other things that happen, and it might end up at a hearing, and I'm not going to get into all of that today, but that's how typically the VA comes to take a look at those things. If your representative is not accredited, then you have much less in the way of any option to do anything about it. The VA Office of General Counsel certainly isn't going to do anything. And I do think you should complain to them anyway as a matter of principle so that they're aware of problems with certain claims consultants out there, but they're not going to do anything. Your state attorney general's office might, your state, if they have an office of consumer protection, they might do something. I don't know. You can sue your representative in court, ask a judge to declare that your agreement with them is not enforceable. And then if it's not enforceable, they can't make you pay. That would be a tricky thing to do on your own, though. I definitely advise you to talk to an attorney if you're looking to sue somebody. But of course, that raises the question of how are you going to pay for that attorney? You may find a legal aid organization to help you out, but you may not. Another thing I want to mention here is that because representatives who do this for a fee cannot charge a fee on initial claims, we tend to not do very many initial claims. And some people will go straight to greed and say, well, it makes sense. You can't get paid. You're not going to help a veteran. And that may be the case in some instances. But I think it's important to remember that there are very few people who can do this work in a serious way and not get paid by somebody. I will do initial claims. Most attorneys I talk to will do a few as well. A lot of times it comes up if we're already working with a veteran on an appeal and there's something that we find that we need to file an initial claim for, we just do it. That's not a big deal. I will also do pro bono cases. So will most other attorneys that I talk to. It's important for attorneys to have pro bono cases in their caseload. But again, you have to balance the free work with the paid work, or eventually you have to get a different job. To sum up, I would say, if you don't want to pay someone, then don't. There are plenty of options for veteran service officers who will help you with your claim for free. But if you're not happy with the free help that's available to you, then start talking to other folks, some of whom may charge you. The key, though, is I think you need to talk to a lot of different people. and find somebody that you feel like you can work with. Also, it's important to have upfront conversations about fees and costs so that you know what you're getting into. And if somebody is trying to pressure you into doing something quickly, or they're not giving you a chance to think about something and get a second opinion, then walk away. Keep looking for someone else. It's the same thing if you think the fee that they're going to charge you is just not reasonable and something you can't accept. Keep looking for someone else. And I just mentioned costs, and I hadn't talked about cost in this video. There is a difference between fees and costs, and I'll take just a moment to explain it. So a fee is what you pay your representative. A cost is money that doesn't stay with the representative. And the best example is a medical opinion. So if your representative works with a doctor on a medical opinion and you pay the representative for that opinion, the money just goes from you to the rep to the doctor. And that's an example of a cost. The best advice that I can give you when looking for a representative is to find somebody that you can work with. Find somebody who sees eye to eye with you on your claim and what needs to be done, and somebody that's going to be responsive to you, that's going to work at a pace that is acceptable to you. And really, you're in this together. It's a partnership. In the best situations, the representative and the veteran are really a partnership in this claim, fighting the VA together. If you're talking to a representative and you're getting a weird feeling about them, go with your gut and go with someone else. I hope you found this video helpful. If you'd like me to help you with your VA claims, you can reach out to me through the links below. I'm Al Walsh, a veteran who likes to help other veterans. Thanks for watching.